Thank you for tuning in to 5-Star Tips, where advisors can hear time-tested methods and proven strategies that top practices are using to achieve exceptional and sustainable success. We invite you to listen, take notes, and apply these methods to your practice today to generate better results tomorrow. Your host, Ken Unger, is the founder of the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. Ken is the industry's leading coach and trainer for mid to high-level financial advisors with almost 40 years of industry experience. Ken has trained more high-level success stories than any other coach. Ken is a thought leader for advisors who are looking to grow and run the industry's top client-centric practices. If you are ready to take your practice to the next level, stay tuned.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 5-Star Tips, a podcast series for serious financial advisors. Today, once again, we're sticking with our theme of success stories, and I've got somebody who I think is remarkable, somebody who you're really going to enjoy listening to. You know, when it comes to building a successful financial advisory practice, we're very fortunate at the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors because not only do we offer proven systems, customized advice, but we have people that have generated tremendous results. One of our goals, as all of you who listen to our podcast series knows, is to work with advisors who are not just extraordinary, but they put clients first. And when I look at our industry as a whole, what do wealthy and good clients want? They want somebody who could have that honest conversation with them, be sincere, be trustworthy, but can also add value. Someone who could have that deep conversation and take their wealth and financial well-being to a higher level. Well, you're all very fortunate today because I've got one of the industry's success stories with me. I've got today with me Rod Kamps, who's just done an extraordinary job. Rod has a firm called the Financial Advisor Network. And basically, I've had a front row seat for the last 15 years to watch Rod grow this firm. And he'll share with you some of the success numbers. But he's grown this firm into where it's one of the extraordinary boutique firms in our industry. Now, how has Rod done this? Rod has done this through an exceptional process of being intentional, always putting clients first, becoming a lifetime learner of things that not just add value, but help people. And those clients that work with him are very fortunate because in Rod and his team, they have some of the best expertise, some of the best advice, and one of the best wealth journeys that any clients could have. So with me today, I've got Rod Kamps. Rod, are you here?
I am. Thanks, Ken, for having me on the show.
Excellent, Rod. Rod, can you tell our audience a little bit, can you describe what your business looks like now? What does your firm look like?
Well, sure. We are currently a comprehensive financial planning firm. We are managing $350 million and currently have a total of 10 employees, which includes me and one part-time, so 9 full-time and 1 part-time employee. We basically have, a more comprehensive approach, so we're adding in a lot of the tax and estate planning. We also have the investment shop right in-house. So that's where we're currently at today.
So, Rod, you've got $350 million. And just so we can let our audience know, when you started in our program about 15 years ago, and actually maybe 16 is what the note I'm getting from someone here, 16 years ago, what did your firm look like then?
Yeah, back in 2004, when I started your program, we were at about 35 million, and it was just myself, an assistant, and my mom, of all things, who was helping me to kind of get the business going.
So you've grown from 30, people talk, I hear all these stories about, I'd like to grow 10x. You really have done 10x. You've gone from $35 million, just you, someone else, and your mom, to $350 million. You've gone from basically a practice to a real wealth management firm over the last.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. And I think, so much of what we've done is what we've learned through your program. And I think, it started back when you originally had all of us in the group develop an operating plan. And that operating plan just kind of gave me a vision the vision of what did I want to do. And you always tried to help us to make sure that we kind of kept that more realistic. And in the operating plan, you had always asked us to kind of set a goal of what you wanted to achieve. And back in the day, I was really excited to maybe do $10 million of new business in a year, and I wasn't exactly sure how to do it, but you helped us to develop a marketing calendar that to this day has really come a long way for me. I think when we first started together, you had suggested that I maybe do 2 or 3 workshops a year. And gosh, 15 years later, we're doing 26 workshops a year. But again, I have a great team that helps me to put it together. But back in the day, it was just an assistant and my mom doing anywhere from 2 to 3. And we kind of started to build that up a little bit each year. So done an amazing thing just by having the right systems in place and setting a goal and creating a vision and action plan on how to get there.
Well, and Rod, I know you always had a vision, and you're a guy who's very focused, also highly intelligent at both financial planning and at running a business. But let's take a deep dive for some of our listeners into, one of the things that we've talked about, at least since you've been with our group, which has been a lot of your growth, was developing systems that are scalable, repeatable, and systems that could not just launch your firm to the next level, but take you to the level you want to go to. Can we do a deep dive and talk about some of the systems that you've created over the years or implemented from our program?
Absolutely. Well, I think it started with understanding of what made us a little bit more unique and what was the value proposition we were doing. And you helped us to develop a service menu. I mean, as you've taught us the gold medal services. So we developed the gold medal services, very similar to what you gave us in the workshops. And we kind of put our own little spin and twist to that. So once we identified more specifically where we were going to focus our energy, our time, our efforts, and where are we going to create value for our clients, we then started to figure out, well, how are we going to get more clients? So, the systems that we started to do were to find ways to show an appreciation for our current clients. So we started initially maybe doing 1 client appreciation function per year. And, we would ask them to bring friends and a way to introduce us. Nowadays, we do in excess of about 3 or 4 client appreciation functions, one of which we call our new client advocate dinner. And it's just a way for us to reward those that have become clients in a given year and those that were advocates that maybe introduced us to those people that hired our firms. So, it really did kind of stem from just building a plan that was really nothing more than systematizing my organization just through all the different programs you encouraged us to do. After a while, you had even kind of started to talk a little bit about how to put a twist of education. And so what we started to do is just do a bunch of educational workshops. And these educational workshops was a non-threatening way to encourage people to come and learn and then to delegate. And so we started to teach a little bit more complex things. We have taught, comprehensive retirement classes, and then we've taught isolated ones on tax and estate planning, stuff like that. So, just having a system with a repeatable, calendar that we can improve each and every year. And I found that having the right people in the right spots. So we've had a individual for about the last 5 years running all of our marketing events and all of our marketing programs that we do to this day.
Well, and Rod, let's move into just one of the areas and dive a little deeper because, one of the things you talked about is you take great pride in creating an extraordinary client and prospect experience through adding value. And I know you do. I know you follow the system of creating a financial action checklist or a list of items whereby you can really help clients. Can we talk a little bit about your use of tax planning, for example? How do you proactively use tax planning?
Sure. Well, I think what we found is that when we did kind of create that value proposition and the gold medal services, we really broke it down into, 5 main areas, which often can be referred to the CFP areas, but you helped us to encourage that. So we broke it down obviously into investments, into estate planning, retirement planning, tax, and risk. And so what we've done is to make sure that when we are meeting with a prospect or if it's a current client, we're just making sure that we're going through various sections of the tax return to show levels of potential inefficiencies and areas that they can improve. So you've assisted us along with many of the other team members that you bring on board to help us in educating us on the tax system to identify various areas and strategies. So I've become extremely familiar with pretty much many of the lines on a tax return and identifying where the most common problems are, and then to more or less just outline those issues and problems, and then I try to quantify it so that the value proposition can be there. So in many cases when I'm going through and asking them for a copy of their tax return, I have found that we're able to identify weaknesses. And, you've suggested over the years that, hey, we're not here to do your taxes. We're just here to try to identify ways that we can save you money. And you've really done a good job at helping us to know where to look and find it, and then to share that knowledge and wisdom with somebody that might not be doing it for them somewhere else.
So you'd say one of your secrets of success, Rod, is a purposeful conversation about their tax situation, identifying ideas and suggestions of how you could possibly reduce their taxes, and then periodically holding a tax review. Do you find that these people have been through that experience before, or is this like an eye-opener or a game changer? What do you think?
No, definitely in the early stages when we first joined you, there were very, very, very few people that ever had reviewed a tax return, and very few people had ever really reviewed an estate plan and identified issues and problems that could be solved. I do find that there's more people doing it these days, but I don't think that they've done it to the level that we have. Part of what we've done is we've built key strategic alliances that ultimately we work with to do tax projections, and that we are able to kind of test some of the items that we've noticed that are weak, and then we can really, through that tax projection, quantify the tax savings to an individual, to not only just say, but to show the dollar value that you're providing, so that, that not all the focus is placed only on your investment returns, because we do know that markets are going to go up and markets are going to go down. So we find that with the estate planning, the tax planning, and the investments all kind of integrated together, it becomes a stickier, solid, long-term relationship that has less turnover in our clientele.
Well, and I know, Rod, you're real good at, you're an excellent lifetime learner. You're real good at not only listening to, but sharing these powerful strategies. But let's shift gears to your firm, because I know one of the things you are is a great family man. You take great pride in your family. You're very proud of your daughters. You're proud of spouse. You're proud of your mom and, where you came from and who your family is. And so I believe that filters through to your family-oriented approach of your firm. Could you speak a little bit about, I think one of the uniquenesses you have is you treat people like family.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I think what happens is as an example of that, we host every year a client appreciation function at my house, which is a big giant barbecue. When we first started it years ago, there might have been about 60 or 70 people. This last year was close to 200, of which I think I had somewhere in the neighborhood of about 15 prospects. But I believe that sometimes when you do invite them to your home, there's an element of a family. Many of our conversations, probably like most of the other, team that's part of the academy, I think what happens is we learn to build strong, outstanding relationships. And what we did is we broke our relationships into key points of contact. So of the 350 million, one thing I want to be clear, Ken, is that we actually, these are all the clients that are my clients. So I've never done like a client acquisition, or I've never brought on anybody that had a book of business. So my team members purely service my 350 million and roughly 435 households. So we've divided the business into, families that will kind of match the expertise. So I have 2 junior advisors that manage, relationships that are in round figures about 200. So they have about 100 each. And I'm currently managing about 240 families. But what we did is that we have roles in the office. We call them paraplanners, and I have a total of 4 paraplanners that assist me with the 240 plus clients that I work with. And what happens is that myself, my team members just really build a strong bond with these people. And when we call them to invite them to a wine event or the barbecue or just any of our events, they know that we're not just inviting them just to invite them, but that there's a relationship here and they actually love coming. So it's been awesome to build these relationships that have become friends as well.
So for those of you listening, I just want to clarify, and I know, Rod, you brought up a great point. Rod, you built a practice where clients come first. You built a service culture, but you also use what we call a servicing model. And that is you hired others not to bring you 50 new clients or not to bring their books of business or not to acquire their books of business, but you hired and trained other very qualified people to actually consistently service your clients the way you do, so that you could be the rainmaker, keep bringing in more clients, expand the firm. And it's basically, like you said, there aren't, some models I talk to people, they say, well, we have 200 million and there's 6 of us. You got $350 million grown from 35, and it's just basically Rod bringing them in, other people servicing them. But I think you do an exceptional job of not just personalizing, but team concept. How do people feel about this team concept? I mean, how do you promote this team concept so that as a client, I feel like, gee, I'm not meeting, why can't I always meet with Rod?
Well, I think what happens is that as the firm grew, we started to recognize that the paraplanners continued to develop their skill set. In my office, the paraplanner actually sits in like a paralegal and actually physically takes all the notes associated with my meetings. And then they do the implementation and execution of what I call my writing the prescription. And what that basically has done over the years is that when the paraplanner has done an exceptional job, I make sure to let the client know that they're the ones kind of doing the heavy lifting and I'm writing the prescription. So what it's done is it's built kind of a stronger employee morale to where they feel that they're really part of something bigger and better and that they're part of the process and the solution. And in some cases, what happens is that over the years, I have developed minimums that I continue to increase. And like all firms, you don't have just a hard minimum. But when I've needed to transition to some of my junior advisors, it made it much easier to actually say, hey, I think that Brian or Spencer in my office can actually spend a little bit more time with you, and he's been doing the kind of the heavy lifting for a while. So if it's okay with you, I would like to give him the promotion to an advisor. And for the most part, the clients have been okay with that because they built a relationship. It was an easy transition. It wasn't just where's Rod? No, in fact, quite the contrary. Usually the transition took somewhere in the neighborhood of anywhere from 1 to 3 years, kind of depending on the clientele. But it's been able to develop the career of the junior advisor. It's been able to elevate some of the paraplanners to junior advisors. And then it kind of creates more of a career path so that they actually know that there is opportunity. So my team members feel that there's a career path within the office. They feel that the income can grow at a different level with that career path. And we let them know that they can either go the service route or the sales route. So at this point, one of my junior advisors actually runs many of my educational workshops in my absence. So now the business is allowing me to spend more time with my family, of which I don't work Fridays and haven't worked Fridays in more than 2 years. And starting next year, I don't work Mondays either. So I've developed a team that is in the midst of I'm passing the baton so that they can implement the systems that we've built over the years and they can run with it.
It's
so
funny.
That's kind of what we've been doing.
It's funny, Rod, because so many people will talk to me and say, I never want to build a business as big as that guy, Rod, because he must work all the time. He probably doesn't have a good work-life balance. I look at them like they've got 6 eyes because Rod, do you have a good work-life balance?
I make sure that I don't come into work on Wednesdays until 11 o'clock. I don't work Fridays. And again, like I said, starting next year, I don't work Mondays. So it's very long hours on Tuesday, very long hours on Thursday. And I usually stay kind of late on Wednesday. But for the most part, no, I've got a great work-life balance. I mean, you were with me when I had a major accident years ago, but it put things in perspective because we don't know how long we're going to be here. And one of the things that when I joined your coaching group, I wanted to make sure is to find a way to build a business so that I could spend more time with my family and my 3 girls. And I'm doing that. So you encouraged me and I want to say you challenged me to, try to work my way from 2 weeks to 4 weeks to 5 weeks. I take between 8 to 10 weeks of vacation per year in addition to that. So I've very much systematized the organization because I do have 588 meetings already that are scheduled on an annual basis right from the get-go. So I've systematized so I know exactly what meetings I have through the year. And so it's kind of a cool thing. It allows me to be very intentional on my schedule and spend quality time with my family and still dedicate the time needed for a business.
So you're running this monster business, Rod. You've got all these people that work for you. You've got all these clients you're responsible for. You're able to get it done. And I know you got 3 very active girls who are very active in sports, very active in life. You're a great dad, great father, great husband. So you're saying that you're able to get personal time. Do you miss a lot of your kids' events because, I wish this year I could see something, but Dad has to bring home the money?
No, in fact, quite the contrary. Again, after the accident and with all the coaching that you've assisted us with, the very second that one of my middle girl has a dance schedule, I make sure that those events get on and we reschedule around the events. When my oldest daughter's on club volleyball and on the high school volleyball team, first thing we do as soon as the schedule is printed is we put it on the calendar and we schedule around it. But those are very important pieces. I don't miss a swim meet with my little one or a soccer game with my little one, and don't miss going to concerts and various pieces with my wife. So I think it's important. We make date night on Fridays, and I think when it's actually a scheduled life, I have just used the basic CRMs out there, and we usually end up sending an email or something to our director of first impressions, and she'll put all these items on my calendar the second they are, and then the guys just kind of swap around appointments, and my clients have gotten used to it. So it's there's no service that's being sacrificed because the paraplanner is assigned to a family, and so the clients know who they need to go to. for service. And then we save the rest of those meetings. We call it strategy sessions. Those are for me. And I handle the strategy and they handle the service.
So, Rod, you're saying through efficient scheduling, role clarification, identifying what's strategic versus what's tactical, and proper delegation, you're able to live not just a balanced life, but a very healthy life where I know you're in great shape. Looks like every time I see you, you look like you've been hitting the gym a little bit. So you get to exercise, spend time with your 3 daughters, spend time with your wife, be a good family member, and also be there for your clients.
Yeah, I feel that when it's very intentional and it's just kind of mapped out, it's amazing how it works, because you can let life run you, or you can kind of be in charge of your life. And I think that with a good calendar and a good focus, you can do it. But I certainly couldn't do it without making sure that I had good team members, because my team members really are there. And as you've said, elevate and delegate. So we've really worked on that a lot. And I think if you empower your team members to challenge them, that gives them career opportunity and vision. So if they see stagnation, it really kind of gets discouraging. So sometimes I elevate and delegate a little bit too quick, but I do my reviews with my team members and make sure that I'm not pushing them too hard, but pushing them hard enough to progress their careers.
Well, and you're right, Rod. We talk about elevating and delegating. We also talk about empowering and investing. And I'd like to just, ask you, because I think it's important for everybody to understand. I know it's not uncommon for us to go to one of our sessions and see quite a few of your team members there. I mean, you invest in their education, do you not? So that, you want them to bring a consistent level of service and have consistent abilities. But I think that's because you're investing in them, and they're going to sessions to learn not just, investment strategies, but tax strategies. They're going to sessions to learn just like you do. Would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I think what I have found most is that when they understand where the philosophy was developed, to bring them to that source. So since we've been in the program for near 15 years, we've recognized that bringing those team members really gets them on board. And then not only that, but we actually get a chance to have some fun. So I think a balance of fun and learning, because in many of my team members' case, when they get to come to the Vegas convention and we get to go and enjoy some time together, or we go to Dallas or we go to LA, what we have found is that there's kind of this work-life balance of, hey, let's go have some fun right now. Let's go have a great dinner. Let's go and learn today. It is so important to get that balance. And I find that when you invest in them and you show them the source of where these systems came from, and that other people are successfully using these systems, it creates just a level of confidence that, wow, if all these people are here and they're all learning and they're all growing, I want to be part of it. So it's felt good to be part of an organization where we have witnessed the success of growth. And each member's had a chance to kind of grow at their own pace, and those that wanted to grow faster did, and those that wanted to grow slower did. But you've given us the tools to not only teach ourselves, but to build and develop our team members. And I would encourage anybody who is considering using your program to make sure that you don't think about it as a hotel expense or a flight expense for your team member. Look at it as an investment that is going to build a relationship and wisdom and knowledge to really validate the systems that you are using as a business owner.
Well, and Rod, for some of the listeners who are out there who aren't familiar with our community, which I think is large and strong, how would you describe your peers in the program, like the people you've met that sit next to you in our workshops and classes? How would you describe
I would kind of describe it as kind of the three different sizes. You've got those that are kind of entering and getting their careers developed, or just never really had a process or system, and they're kind of the beginners. And then what I have found is that, after typically about, usually the first year is such an information overload. I would encourage so many people that are considering doing a group that when you go the second and third year, it actually starts to really get implemented. I was a slow learner, so I implemented piece by piece by piece, and I wasn't able to implement it all at once. But I took what I thought was really important and implemented it. So group one is really those that are really just trying to figure out how to systematize their organizations. Group two is those that are in the midst of kind of mastering the systemization or have improved the systemization. So what you'll find is that group is growing at a faster pace than the entry ones, just because the implementation is getting deeper and deeper and more and more. And then, as you get into your fourth and fifth and sixth year, what you're going to find is that the implementation of things is now about precision and precise, and you found out what works for you, because there's so many different personalities that are business owners that are in the room. We all have a different style, but somehow with the systems, we get to cater those systems to our own personalities. So some of them are the more advanced groups that have grown to the 3 to 300 million to the billion range, and it's exciting to see it. So some of the bigger producers really try to take some time to help out those that are getting started, and that was really helpful for me in the very beginning. And then there's for those that are more advanced who have $200 and $300 million practices that want to take it to 5 or a billion. There's team members that you can share wisdom and knowledge that you don't have to try to figure it out from scratch. There's guys doing it. So it's kind of for all different ages and levels, and the way you break up the groups helps us to pair up properly. Because once you get into, I'm going to call it the 300 million plus range, you really transition from being just a financial advisor to a CEO.
And I want to talk about that, Rod. I mean, one of the things you enjoy is we offer classes for financial advisors at these sessions, for CEOs, as well as even for team members. So I think, you've enjoyed our CEO class where we focus on not just what you started out doing, which was being a great practitioner who was building a firm, but now you're really spending a good portion of your time running a firm. And so we talk about CEO things and, setting up, for example, career paths for people, setting up compensation programs, setting up all the things that a CEO, someone who's running a firm, I know you find that helpful. Can you comment a little bit on our CEO track?
Yeah. So, the CEO track really has just kind of helped us to identify about making sure that you have the right leaders, the right managers, the right team members, as you've discussed over and over in the program, is make sure you got the right people in the right seats of the bus. And I think what happens as your career and as your business develops, you really start to narrow down those job descriptions. You start to narrow down what their productivity needs to be measured on. And you come up with certain things like scorecards and just different ways to measure the success of your team members. So I think when you've done the CEO training for us, I think what's happened is again, you've just given us more tools to refine and polish the way we are able to run our organizations. And you've given us some kind of important matrix to see that if we're in what I call the reasonable range zone, of profitability and cost of team members. So you've given us some good pieces and guidance to see and know that we are in the right range. And if we're not, you say, here's what you should be striving for, and you give us pointers towards getting there.
Well, Rod, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the compliment. Something that obviously you're someone who's been uber successful. You're a remarkable guy running an exceptional firm with an outstanding seasoned game plan. But Something that I'd love for you to share with our listeners is, what are some of the biggest time wasters that others could avoid, either ones that you yourself experienced or you watched other advisors struggle with? Our business people tell me they can't get everything done. They can't get things done. What are some of the biggest time wasters? Could you think of one or two that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I think first, you have to identify what your own unique ability is. And whatever that strength or weakness is try to avoid the things with the weaknesses and then do the things that are the strengths and the things you like. But one of the biggest time wasters, I think, for me over the years was email. And in the development of a service program, my clients seldom even have my email. So what happens is the paraplanners that are assigned to our clients to do the servicing, they handle each of those pieces. And I would say a very large portion, and maybe as much as 95% of the stuff that goes on is service related. So all the email communications go to my paraplanner. It's not uncommon that the paraplanner will respond and blind CC me in so that I'm part of the loop. But we really focus on making sure that we are making sure that as an advisor that I'm going more towards advice and strategy, and they're handling service. So I think email is a big waster. Back in the day, back when I was handling the investments, I found that I was spending time researching and trying to figure out what investments and stuff like that. So as my firm grew, we implemented a portfolio manager in-house to run our money. And we built systems and technology that allow us to trade in mass so that our clients all share a very similar experience. So I used to allow wholesalers to actually call and, do meetings, but I haven't done a meeting with a wholesaler in almost 8 years. So that was a huge time waster. The other thing that on the email side is I have an email block list in excess of 5,000 different companies that I have blocked. So my emails are much, much more refined. And they can't even get into my system. So portfolio management, my calendar used to be all over the board. We actually make sure that we, for prospect meetings, we allow up to 2 hours. We try to finish them in an hour and a half, but we usually give ourselves about 30 minutes between meetings. So just learning to be more efficient there. But those are the first few that come to mind. I mean, I haven't done paperwork. I couldn't even tell you how to do a piece of paperwork in, I don't know, close to 15 years. So, nonetheless, I'm not even the greatest on my calendar. My team usually has to do it. So my director of first impression and my paraplanners all have their clients on an automated, scheduling system. So I used to have to schedule appointments, but I literally come in the office. My calendar is fully set by my team members. My appointments are totally prepped by my paraplanners. We have checklists and action item checklists of all the different things. All the follow-up is done by my paraplanners. But I think it's just so key to have those systems and processes that I used to have to do most of it on my own.
So, Rod, as you've elevated, like you said, you've elevated and delegated like we talk about. Some of the things, just to play back for everybody, is you've gotten out of that personal email trap. When I hear people are checking emails all day long, I'm like, are you kidding me? Why? So you're not in that personal email trap. You're blocking out focus time to do the most important thing, which is meeting with clients and prospects and hosting events and really getting FaceTime with the people who are paying you for it. Something I'm hearing also, that I don't think you're doing, Rod, you haven't brought up is, I've been reading all these articles that people are sending me how a financial advisor should be on social media personally 3 to 5 times a day. I don't think you're personally playing around with that stuff yourself, are you?
No, I mean, I don't. And so what happens though is our marketing person makes sure that all of our newsletter communication, that all of our, we stay very in tune with the client. So the newsletter that you've developed over the years for us to use does get disseminated through the social media. It does get disseminated via paper. So we put it in many forms, because there are still some of the people that want to read it via email. There are still some that want to read it via social media. But I don't personally do any FaceTime. I'm not blogging or any of that stuff. I don't think that my clients would want me blogging about various items. I think that they want to meet with me when strategy is needed. We spend a good amount of time of creating and managing, and I believe this is probably so important, which is managing the expectation. When the stock market was down on October 3rd to December 24th, close to 20%, we had one phone call. So to put it in perspective, the only thing we guarantee to our clients is volatility and fluctuation. And we even tell them that, look, within a 95% probability, this is where your fluctuation is going to go. So when you set that expectation up front, and you manage it, and you don't oversell yourself to perfection, but to sell yourself as that what roller coaster you're putting your clients on before they get on it. I think that just helps a lot to manage expectation, keep your call volume down, and have people realize that, wait, this guy's got this thing so refined that he's not even concerned that the market was down or off 800 points today. It's kind of irrelevant. It's just part of the process. And if we've done the right things by keeping their cash reserve levels at appropriate amounts, and if you've done the right things up front, when these little hiccups come along, it's not a big deal.
So you're telling me, Rod, which is something I already know, which is you have an honest and sincere conversation. You do an exceptional job of just planning with the understanding that perfection is not possible. And then people understand your communication system, which is authentic and excellent. And so, therefore, you're running a firm, not an emergency, not like that person just putting out fires all day long.
I found early on in the career, before the coaching program, it felt like I was putting out fires. I can't say that there are none, but I can say that there are significantly less because of being more intentional in my planning process.
So, Rod, I leave you with this last question. What advice would you give to others? People tell me all the time, I'd love to, I know you could easily be part of a conglomerate and part of a multi-billion-dollar firm. They try to buy your business all day long. You could easily be one of the lead partners there because you're highly intelligent and could run that kind of firm. What would you say to somebody who wants to run a highly profitable firm that puts clients first, does an outstanding job, is award-winning in their field, as a result of it, allows someone like you to live a good lifestyle because of all the good you're doing for clients? What would you tell them? How would you tell them this is how you could do it?
Well, I'll tell you this. When Butch was Tiger Woods' coach, the reality is Tiger Woods was always much better of a golfer than his coach, Butch. But the reason he had Butch and the reason he's got a coach is to be able to make sure that you are doing your regular day-to-day routines and keeping you on track. I would say that if you're committed to your business, that you're committed to success and a balanced life, you need to have coaching be part of that. And when we surround ourselves with other successful individuals that have similar philosophies and similar values together, I have found that a coaching system has really helped me to stay, and I want to use the word accountable, because I find that when you are and you desire to be accountable and you want somebody to hold you to it, you get better. I find those that want to just be independent but not accountable will struggle their growth because they're not willing to take a step in a direction that is led in a proven technique. So I think your coaching group has helped me tremendously over the years. It's helped me stay organized. It's helped me surround myself with other successful people that might be doing things that I'm not doing, and they're willing to share those thoughts and concepts and success stories. So I think joining the coaching group has been a great thing for me, and I would encourage it for others. And then decide what you're really shooting for, because once you create a clear vision, a coach can help you to get there.
Well, Rod, it's easy to see why you're such a great success. And all I could say is, from all of us here at the APFA, we're honored to be a strategic part of your amazing journey. On a personal level, I don't think you find a much finer person than you. And I know people say, Ken, you say that about all 400 of your members, but I am blessed. We have a large audience of some of the best financial advisors in the country who, like you said, gather together as a group 3 times a year. And we get to share experiences, share our lives, and share what we really do, which is help others, empower others to be better at what they're doing. Rod, on behalf of all the clients that you help, all the other advisors out there that you help, and all the people here at our office that you really take to a higher level, I want to thank you for your time today. We're very fortunate in this industry to have someone with not just the vision, but the intelligence and willingness to share like you. So, Rod, I really want to thank you for your time today.
Well, thank you, Ken. I really appreciate it, and I hope those that were listening gained some good insight. This has been a great process. It's been a great journey, and it's been an awesome part of being part of your organization. So thank you for having me.
Well, I appreciate that, Rod. And as I say to our other guests, I say the same thing to you. I know we got at least another decade or so of continued growth. I don't think you don't sound like you're ready to stop. I know I'm not.
No.
And,
I'll be going down to 3 days a week starting next year. So you'll see me more on the baseball fields and doing some of the triathlons and doing the things I love with my family. But
so
good stuff. Thank you so much, Ken.
For the guy with 3 days, do you expect to grow that firm still? You still looking for double-digit
Absolutely.
growth?
Absolutely. I expect a 15% growth rate, and I'm empowering my team members and getting them ready for it right now as we speak.
So there you go, Rod, just continuing to grow that, continuing that amazing journey. Once again, but most importantly for all those listeners out there, I want you to understand, because I know Rod very, very well and spent the last 15 or so years watching him. Here's a guy who puts clients first. His entire firm is built around putting clients first, having that honest, high-level, and sincere conversation with them, then delivering in a value way a massive set of skills and enjoying the amazing journey himself. So, Rod, once again, on behalf of everyone listening, I hope this helps others. I thank you. The only thing I do ask is, those of you listening, our podcast is called 5-Star Tips, and we'd love to get a 5-star review. Share our podcast with your friends. Give us a 5-star review so we can continue to move up in the rankings, because one of our goals is to continue to share success stories from people like Rod with you, so that hopefully you can see not only how you can do it, but what you can do. Rod, thanks again.
All right. Thanks, Ken. Have a great day. Talk to you later.
You got it.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5-Star Tips. For show notes, please visit www.theapfa.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And don't forget to sign up for our email list. For more information on the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, please visit our website at www.theapfa.com. That's www.theapfa.com. Or give us a call at 866-866-0472 with any questions you may have.